Hello guys, let's get started with making this baby dress already. So quickly, after folding your fabric, the next measurement you're going to impute is the shoulder measurement. So I'm working with the measurements of 8 inches for the shoulder. Divided by 2, I have 4. I'm going to be adding I'm going to make it 4.2, just very small allowance for the shoulder joining. And then at that 4 inches point, I'll come down by half inch. Next, I'm going to measure the neck depth and width. So I'm going to be using 2 inches by 2 inches for the neck depth and for the neck width. So I'm going to connect my point, and with my chalk I'll just create a gentle slope for the round neck line. So after this, I'll connect from that neckline to the shoulder point to create that slope. So next, I'm going to be marking the chest line. So I'm using a chest line of 5 inches. So to get your chest line, it's either you divide the bust measurement by 6 and then add 1.5, or you simply measure the baby round armhole and then divide it by 2. You get the chest line. So I'm using 5 inches. After marking that, I'll create the line just like you can see. And then I will divide my armhole length by 2. When I divide it by 2, I'll come in by just half an inch. And then I'm going to create that curve. But before then, I'm going to be dividing the bust measurement by 4. I have 6.25. So quickly, I'm going to mark 6.25 on the chest line. Just like this. Just follow as you can see. You're going to make the baby dress at the end. So after marking 6.25, I'm going to add allowance of 1 inch. So you can add 1.5 if you're not too sure, but 1 inch for me is very fine. So I'm going to connect all the points from the shoulder to the half I made at the armhole line and then the chest line. Next, I will take the half length. So babies don't need underbust, bust, all of that. Just from the shoulder to their half length. In fact, their waist and their bust is always the same thing. So for my shoulder to my half length, I'm using 7 inches. So I'm going to mark 7 inches across all the line and join it together. So on that same line, I will come down by that same 6.25 that I had for the chest line plus the allowance. Then I'll cut. So I'm done cutting the front piece. Next, I'm going to be cutting the back. So for the back, it's just going to be the same thing. I'll place the front on the back. Then I'm going to keep about 1 inch for zip allowance at the back of the fabric, just like this. I'll confirm that I have 1 inch, and I'll pin it to avoid it moving around when I'm cutting. But I will just make a difference at the neckline. So for the back neckline, I just came up a bit, half an inch upward. So I just used my chalk to create a freehand sketch. I came up by ½ inch. So the front and the back neck will not be equal. But in case you want to make your front and back neck equal, it will still come out fine. So I'm going to cut the back piece just like you can see. I'll trace every other side, the armhole, the shoulder. The difference is just in the neckline. So after cutting this back piece, the next thing I'll be doing is cutting my lining. So in cutting the lining, just follow what I'm doing so you can have a perfect result. So I'm going to be cutting a lining that is exactly like the front piece. I'll arrange the lining very well, and then I'm going to cut it having the same shape. So firstly, I'm going to pin it as usual to avoid the fabric shaking, so I don't make mistake when I'm cutting any of the curved area. Then I'll also do the same thing for the back piece. So after cutting, I'm going to separate the front and the back from the lining. Just like this. And before stitching, I'm going to cut out the front design. So this is how I'll cut out the front design. I'm using this cord lace. I'll fold it into two. Take the front piece, place it on top, and then with my chalk, I'm going to trace out the neckline, just like this. After tracing out the neckline, I'm going to trace out the shoulder and then the armhole. So I'm going to trace out everything just like you can see exactly. And after doing the tracing, I'll take off the front piece. I believe you all can see this. And then measure 2.5 inches on the armhole line. 2.5 inches. And then on the neckline, I'll come down by 3 inches. So I'll connect these 2 points with my straight ruler. So I'll connect this point to have a V shape, just like the design was displayed. Then I'm going to cut. So just follow what you can see. So if you want yours to be bigger, you can come down a bit. But I think this is fine for a baby dress. So I don't go below the half length. So after cutting, I will then place it on the front piece. So this is what we have for the front design. You can see how it came out really nice. So I'm going to place it on the front part of the front piece. Yes, directly on the front, just like you can see. Then I'll take the lining and place the lining on the 2 piece now. That is the fabric, the lace, and then the lining. Then I'm going to sew across just like this. I'll sew the neckline, sew the armhole, and show you guys what it's going to come out looking like. So yes, I'm done stitching, and this is the outcome. So when you sew just like I've explained, the armhole, the neckline is going to come out just like this. All the edges are going to be properly turned round. So I cut out this black fabric here as a design that is going to serve as the hand. I cut out 4 inches, then I folded about 1.5 for the down, and then 0.5 inches for the top part. So I'm going to start pleating from the back of the dress, just like this. So I'll start from, so I use a pin to cover the zip allowance. Then I'll start right from there. You can just come down by 2.5 inches, and then you start pleating. You can also make yours gathers if you want to also come out nice. You can make it gathers, you can do pleating. You can gather and also pleat, depending on how full you want your design to come out looking. So I'll just go ahead and do a simple pleat, side by side pleat, just like this. And then when I come to the armhole, I'll still pleat, but I'll give about 4 inches for ease on the hand, so the baby can lift up her hand. So I'll do this and show you guys the outcome. So I'm done pleating, and this is what we have. So I pleated following the shape, the V shape that we cut out earlier, and this is the outcome. So after this now, I had to cut out 13 inches for the skirt part of the dress. For the down part of the dress, I cut out 13 inches. So I'm going to make a loose stitch at the top, so I can create a gathered pattern and sew along the half length all through the dress and show you the outcome as well. So right here, I'm trying to make a loose stitch on the top of the skirt part. I hope you understand. So I made a loose, after folding the down, Then I made a loose stitch at the area that we're going to join with the half length. So I'm going to make it more visible. Although I have some joining, because I had to make it a bit long so the dress can come out fuller. So I'm going to pick from the edge one of the thread. No, it's 2 thread, one down, one on top. So I'm going to pick one, either the one down or the one on top. Then I'll begin to draw it like this, just like you can see. So I can create the gathers effect. So if your machine can sew out gathers for you, that's perfect. No need for this. But if you don't have a sewing machine that can sew out the gathers for you, you can simply use this style and you will have just the same result. So after gathering all the upper parts of this skirt, next I'm going to stitch it to the half length of the dress, and this is the outcome, guys. So if you like what you're seeing, please subscribe, hit the like button, do comment, and I'll appreciate that. So guys, I folded the down part of the dress, and I believe it's looking all neat, as you can see, and is ready to go. So I'll show you the back of the dress, and that will be all. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate. Till we meet again in my next video. Bye.